everyone, this is Dave from Geekanoids, and this is my review of the Freecom Dual Drive Network Center. This is a network attached storage device, sometimes referred to as a NAS, and the idea of this type of device is that you store your files on it, maybe documents, music, photos, videos, etc. And once they're stored on here, you can access them from any computer connected to your network. You can even set up users so that they can access the whole drive or just specific folders on here, so you can sort of restrict their access. Now, before I show you the other features on this drive, I'm going to show you what else you get inside the box. Now, you do get a CD, and on this CD you get manuals and an application. The application gives you quick access to setting up the drive. I'm going to be showing you that later on in this video. You also get a quick install guide. Excellent little guide, shows you how easy it is to plug everything in and get things up and running. You also get an Ethernet cable. This is used for connecting the device to your network. And then you get a universal voltage power supply. This end goes into the Freecom device, and then this end you put a figure eight power cable in. In the box I got two power cables supplied. I got one for European use and also a 3-pin UK plug one. This end goes into that adapter I just showed you. This end goes into your wall socket. And then last but not least, you get 4 little keys in this little pack here, and this is for gaining access to the hard drives in the device. So now let's have a look at this really high-end network attached storage device. Starting at the front, completely plain front, really nice styling. We've got some vents at the top here. This is to help dissipate some of the heat. Behind these little icons we've got LEDs, and they glow different colours depending on the status. We've got one for each of the 2 hard drives installed in here, one for network connectivity and also one for the power. Now you get very easy connection to your router or switch, plus fast installation, and the reason that it actually performs so well is if I take you around to the back for a quick look at the back, you can see we've got an Ethernet socket here, and this supports up to gigabit speed, so that really does help the performance of this device. Also on the back, I'll just walk you through, this is where you plug in the power connector. This one here is for the main power on off switch. You can also shut down and reboot the device via the software interface. We've got a little recessed reset switch here for if you do need to reset it. We've also got a USB 2 connector here, and this is for adding things on like an external hard drive, perhaps for adding extra capacity or for backing up the data you've got on the device itself. Kensington lock for if you want to tether it down to a desk. These are the 2 little key sockets that I showed you. You need to unlock these and pull out these 2 bits here to gain access to the 3.5-inch SATA hard drives. Now there's another little vent here for yet more heat dissipation, and the whole enclosure made of aluminium, which really does help to dissipate the heat and keep it well under control. Now, I mentioned to you it's got 3.5-inch SATA hard drives installed. Well, you can buy it as an empty enclosure, so you could add your own hard drives to it. This particular one has got 2 1TB hard drives in, giving me 2 terabytes of storage. You can also buy versions with 2 1.5TB or 2 2TB of drives installed, which gives you totals of 3 terabytes or 4 terabytes of storage. This is the 2 terabyte version, and you can configure it in the setup as RAID 0 or 2 for faster performance, and it supports RAID 1 as well, so you can have a redundant copy of your data. What I mean by that is, let me just flick around to the back for you. Let's suppose you've got a 1TB drive installed in here, which we have in this device, and a 1TB one in here. You could use this in RAID 0 or RAID 2 and have 2 terabytes of storage capacity, or you could configure it as RAID 1, and then what would happen is the data on hard drive 1 would be mirrored or duplicated onto hard drive 2, so you've got a copy of all of your files. It is universal plug and play and DLNA compatible, and in my tests I've been using it both for data storage and also for streaming data to my PS3, and I've been watching movie files. It's performed really well with no glitches. So I'm going to just quickly break off here from the main video and show you the interface that you used to configure the Freecom dual drive. When you put the CD in, you can put it in either a Windows-based PC or a Mac. We're on a Mac at the moment. We get the DD Network Center icon come up. When you double click on this, the window that you're presented with gives you access to manuals, software and products folders, as well as a big start button. It's the big start button that we're interested in, so we're going to double click on this icon, and this will give you some easy to use interface that will enable you to discover the device on your network and to set things up. So here we're going to select software installation, and we want to actually install the FNS Assistant. And this is now asking us to install the software onto the Mac. So we're going to click continue, select install, and select close. Now we're going to quit out of this installer interface and go into our applications. And once installed, we want to navigate down to our utilities folder, and then we've got one here called FNSA. We're going to double click on this. This brings up the Freecom Network Storage Assistant, and it's telling us that the IP address of the device is 192.168.1.30, and we've got some options for doing the following tasks. Configure the basic settings. We can also go to the web interface. We can connect to a shared folder or search again for another device. Well, this is the only Freecom device I've got on the network, so I'm going to select to go to the web interface, and this goes into Safari, which is my default browser. It's asking me for a username and password. Well, we're going to use the defaults that are set for the device straight from the box. And here we've got access to all of the settings. We've got a status panel here, and this tells us the work group, the firmware version, etc. We're going to go into setup to give you a look at that, and this allows us to give the device a different name, assign a different work group, change passwords, some power management options there, and then we've got tabs across the top for network settings, DHCP settings, date and time settings, disk settings. This is worth just noting here that during my main video review I commented on the different RAID setups that you can assign to the drive, and at the moment it says that we're set to RAID 0, so this means that it sees the drives as one large volume and actually shares the data between the two drives. We can obviously change this setting if we want to. Down here we've got various radio checkboxes for changing to JBOD mode, equivalent of RAID 2, RAID 0 or RAID 1. And then the last tab across the top of this section is an upgrade tab, and this is for uploading a new firmware to the device. And then we've got settings, restore configuration settings, save them and go back to default. We've got a log here which tells you all of the actions that the system has performed. In the user tab we can actually create new user accounts and give them access to various folders or set quota limits for them. We've got a share folder section here, and this allows us to set up the Samba service and folder managers. We can add and edit and delete various folders on the device and then give various accounts particular access to those folders. The FTP server selection screen here allows us to set up the device as an FTP server. Great that they've included this. And last but not least, the media server enables us to register the media server and give it a name for DLNA compliant devices. Also offers up universal plug and play, and it will also act as an iTunes server as well. So that's given you a brief overview of the user interface that you're presented with the dual drive network center using a standard web interface. Now let's go back to the main review. You also get a BitTorrent client built in, so you can download files without having your computer turned on. The aluminium enclosure helps control the heat, and the cooling fan is really quiet indeed. The 2 years warranty and unlimited free help desk support just adds to the value of this solid performer. I've been really impressed with how the data flies backwards and forwards to this device. Now the Freecom dual drive network center starts at just under £100 for the empty enclosure, or £245, that's $365 for the 2TB version, and up to £379 or $615 for the top end 4TB version. All are extremely good value for money, with the empty enclosure offering probably the best buy in my opinion. Well, thanks very much for listening. This has been my review of the Freecom dual drive network center. Please do subscribe to the Geekanoids channel so you don't miss out on any of my future reviews. This video review is sponsored by BMI Solutions, the largest reseller of document scanners within the UK, with a price promise guarantee.